Hello, hello, hello. Hopefully, we have audio now, and hopefully, we will have a video as well. Oop, once again, everything has changed. I do love it when it does these. Uh, Everything was organized, and now it has changed. So at least you've got me. That is, yeah, no, all seriously, I set it up. It was all ready to go, and oh, I know why. It's me. There you go. I had set it up, um, but it seems that when you click on the wrong button, you show the wrong screen. So it is me in my sleep-deprived old age. That is technology. I need a team, an entourage of techies and social media experts and everything else to help me out in my old doterage. Nah, technology, a thing of the future. We don't need to worry about it. Well, thank you. We've got Stuart with us. Hopefully, a few others will be jumping into chat in a little while. But this is our weekly review of the games that have just gone and the games that are coming up, plus anything that has happened in the previous week. And boy, has something happened in the week. I think most people that are listening that um, play games, role play games, especially specifically play Dungeons and Dragons, will be aware of a leak that has come out, changing the OGL, the Open Gaming License, which I'll come into in a little while, but that has been weighing down on my thoughts and how it affects us, how it affects other people, if indeed any of it is true. So we'll be coming on to that as well. I'll be talking about some of the projects that we've got. So I have no idea how long this will take. So first and foremost, games last week. It was a good week. All the games fired, um, which is always a nice thing. Um, we we ran a lot of things. Hiya, Jack. Thanks for jumping in. Always good to see you. I'm not going to make a huge amount of statement about last week's games because it is all about this week's games really. But last week we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games. They all fired. Good fun. Hey, Professor, thanks for jumping on. Appreciate it. But I think, are you going out for drinks and food with friends? I've got. This is how good my week is at the moment. I've already got a bottle of beer that I'm going to start drinking now. So it might be a drunk stream as well. It's also Monday, which is technically my day off. Hi there, Jocelyn. Good to see you. Thank you for jumping in as well. Yeah, when you're starting drinking beer, I'm on dry January as well, but it's been that kind of week and day for me. Um, so fantastic weeks of games last week. Actually learned quite a lot of things, but I support your dry January. Jump January for me, yeah. I'm not a big drinker anyway, but sometimes you get driven to it. Hey, Ryan, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Um, None of it my making, I would. Yeah, Dr. Jocelyn, damp. We'll start talking about moist in a minute, and that will lose me all of my viewers. But that tastes and feels good. Yeah, great games last week. Thank you very much, community, for turning up and B, making them so much fun. We ran some one-shot mythicals, which was great. All of the usual ones. We did a Call of Cthulhu on Saturday night. You were simply awesome, obviously, Professor. And what we did last thing on Sunday, the 7 o'clock game, it was the first play test of Twisted Narratives Incredibly Light Rules, which was a rejigging of the Call of Cthulhu game we ran called The Heist, a homebrew one. And we did part one last night, and it actually held together quite nicely. So that was exciting to see and really fun to play, and it kind of worked. Very, very early days with doing these this system, but it was good to see. So we'll be continuing on with that in 2 weeks. So all in all, a great week last week. Coming up this week though, because this is what you're you're here to see me rant on about the open gaming license, let's face it, but I might as well advertise this week's games while I have your attentions. So we've got, provided they all fire, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games this week. Kicking off tomorrow night with Vampire the Masquerade. I'm sorry, I ate all the free pizza, Professor. Vampire the Masquerade, an ongoing campaign. Our kindred are in New York at the moment. It's pretty much World of Darkness as it is, with a little bit of a twist to it, and certain things are becoming apparent now to our kindred that we didn't have chance really. It's a slow burn. To start bringing out the backstories of the kindred, because they had awoken from torpor and they'd been in torpor for a good number of years. So all of their touchstones and their backstory sort of was previously quite a while ago, and they had spent a fair amount of sort of from the start of the campaign or chronicle as you call it for World of Darkness, to now kind of finding their feet, finding what the political sway is in Albany, where they woke up or out of torpor, and New York. But now, because they've spent some time there, their backstories are beginning to come out, and it's great fun to eke that out. If you've never played Vampire the Masquerade, it's a fantastic system if you like social and political role-play games. On Wednesday, I've got my secret project, which I'll be coming onto in a little while. But yeah, I've been working hard on this. I will talk about the secret project in a minute once I've done the rest of the list of games we're running. So Wednesday, a game will be on, but it's part of this top secret project. Then on Thursday, it's a Critical Role campaign, Call of the Netherdeep, which I'm very much looking forward to. I mentioned last stream that we did is the Critical Role games are role play heavy. I don't actually mean they are heavy in feel, but all of the characters are involved in their characters, and there's a lot of role playing going on as well. I have to say the campaign is well written. It's one of my favourites that I've read, and you kind of can tell that the writers have deliberately designed to give it that Critical Role feel. Very much enjoying that. I can't wait to do it. And then on Friday the 13th, I'd like to point that out to you. Friday the 13th, we have our weekly Friday game, level 18 Collateral Damage. Yeah, they're going to be running a game on Friday the 13th. It's going to be, well, it's going to be crazy, I guess, absolutely crazy. I don't know whether they're about to go into combat or not, but everything is about to kick off in the location they are in, and I'm very much looking forward. It's probably not going to be safe for work, yeah. Um, you kind of maybe wonder why the campaign's called Collateral Damage. It's named after the party, the group that have entitled themselves Collateral Damage for fairly obvious reasons. So those are all the weeknight games. Unfortunately, all sold out. I say unfortunately, I'm really happy that they've all sold out. Not so much for you guys because obviously you can't jump into them. And then it moves to quite a busy weekend. So Saturday we have 4 games if they all fire, which I'm hoping they will do. First of all, we kick off our ongoing campaign, Dungeon of the Mad Mage, as the characters delve even deeper into the dungeon. They've travelled probably halfway through the campaign now, doing well, and it's a very nice dungeon bath with the chance for role playing and getting involved with political factions. It's crazy. It is the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Well, that doesn't make sense. No, because you are in the dungeon of a mage who is mad. So you have to take things with a pinch of salt. Kind of fairly high fantasy, but great fun to do, especially if you like that kind of thing. And then we move on to what was Ghosts of Saltmarsh, but they've completed the core of Ghosts of Saltmarsh, and now they are going onto their own sort of storylines, and they are searching for the Rod of Seven Parts. There are a couple of spaces on this. This is Saturday at 1 o'clock till 4 o'clock. It's all on our Discord server, which I'll bang up in a minute, so you can have a look at that. High fantasy Greyhawk, one of the classic settings of early D&D, and it's very nice to revisit that setting. Followed by 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, something that we're doing that is new. It was a Spelljammer campaign, and unfortunately, we have lost a couple of players from it. So, what we are doing, I've spoke to the existing players, and we're going to turn it into a set of one shots akin to Mythical, but instead of set in the world of Mythical, we're going to set it in my homebrew world and city, known as the Smoke. The Smoke, for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, is a steampunk fantasy urban environment. Thanks very much, Professor. I will catch you later. Enjoy your evening. I really appreciate you hanging around with us. But it's going to be a set of one shots. So fundamentally, anybody that sort of joins in will see the start of the story, the middle of the story, and the end of the story. You only gain experience for the sessions that you play in, together with the loot, and you advance through that. It's going to be tier 1, and there are some spaces left in that as well. And that is this Saturday at 4 till 7. And then from 7 till 10, we've got our other Spelljammer campaign. It's a higher level Spelljammer campaign. Just remind me, Jack, is it 11th level? I think it's 11th level. And it's called Cosmic Rain. They have just scratched the surface of we did a little bit of a prologue, but they just scratched the surface of it, and they're fundamentally right at the beginning of the session about to potentially uncover what is going on and get drawn into the mystery of what is happening. So that is Saturday. Then Sunday, we've technically got 4 sessions on again. We've got Giant Slayers first thing 10 till 1. And again, because we've had people dip in and out of it, we've turned it into a mythical now. But we're kind of doing something slightly different with it. Rather than it being random one shots, all of these one shots on that Sunday morning are going to be linked. So it's technically still going to be the Joint Slayers campaign. But if there are any spare spaces and anybody wants to play a mythical character, they can jump in and out of that campaign should they wish to. If you enjoy it and you kind of want to see the campaign through to the end, you can also say, no, to be honest, I want to have a permanent slot. I think there's like 4 people that are playing it currently that have permanent places anyway. So there are 1 or 2 either permanent places or sort of impromptu places for that. Then we are going to do, and that's tier 2 as well. So that is levels 5 to 10 ish. And then in the afternoon, late afternoon, 4 till 7, we have a standard mythical game, tier 2. We've got a fair amount of, sorry, it's not 4, it's this will be 1 to 4, this mythical. I have my thumb over the 4 to 7 game. This is more of a typical mythical game where people can jump in and out of, and there will be different adventures in different locations. I believe that has just sold out as well. So, but there will be spaces every other week on it. So keep an eye out on there. Then 4 till 7 is our Eberron game, another fantastic D&D world setting. And that has sold out, and the players are investigating some special forces that took part in some activities in the Great War. Eberron had a 100-year war, and they're chasing down some people that fought in that war in sort of a special operations team, looking to hopefully get their aid against the big bads. And then last but not least, we've got another Tales from the Smoke game, this time though tier 2, and that is from 7 till 10. So very, very busy week. Looking forward to it. There are some games that haven't sold out yet. Some of the games have got some slots in. So please, even if you are watching on catch up, you can jump into our Discord, which I'm just about to sort of call up here for you. And you can either message me on the Discord, or you can take a look for yourselves on the Discord channels. Here we go. I'm doing some admin as well. Look at this. I'm doing the technologies. If anybody in chat wants to give that a little bit of a test out, see whether that link actually works, I'm fairly certain it will. Of course, there's a bit of a gap here. I skipped over it. Wednesday night, super secret project, and it is a super secret project for a reason. One of our thanks very much for that, Brooks. Super secrets. I can see that you do super secret. I've been working on a concept for a while, for me to be able to run them, but also for sort of publishing, which is solo games. I don't mean me playing a game by myself. I mean a GM and a single player using hirelings, sidekicks, and the like. There's kind of mechanics for that. And I got approached by someone called Sarah, who has a magnificent husband, and she wanted to treat him for his birthday, which I believe is this Friday the 13th. but he's busy on Friday the 13th, so he couldn't do it. So she very kindly offered with me to work on this super secret project to run one of these games for Michael. You're probably not here, but hopefully when you are on catch up, you will be hearing about this. I'll also message you because we've only got a couple of days left, but we very much would like to invite you for a birthday treat. You're our very first test subject to a game. I kind of know the kind of style of games you want, so I've entitled this game The Night of the Delinquent Morden Men. It's going to be set in one of the domains of Dread, Lemordia, and particularly in the city of Ludendorff. Obviously, I want you to be able, as it's a birthday treat for you. Happy birthday, by the way. I'll be saying this quite possibly all the week. And I will raise a glass, everybody in chat, raise a glass, shout happy birthday in chat to him as well. And he can see it later. But I want you to have narrative agency. So once you find out about this, either through this or through Ryan or Sarah telling you, thank you very much, Brooks. You can get in contact with me and we'll sort out. I can load up Fantasy Grounds and you can start doing your character. It's going to be 8th level. Because I kind of want you to be, the protagonist and not necessarily the hero of this game, but certainly the main focus of it, as it is for your birthday. And you can generate your character. We can talk about what it is. I've got a fairly good feel for the kind of games you like, so hopefully I'm going to do you proud. And we'll have some hirelings and some NPCs and the stuff that will support you in this as well. So that is the super secret project. So once again, happy birthday, Michael. I know it's a little bit early. You bet, but birthday shenanigans indeed. And I'm very curious whether it will work, to be honest. I'd like to keep this a secret from you for a while because you're playing quite a few of my games, and oh no, I shouldn't mention it. I shouldn't mention it. So I can't wait for you to find out. Can't wait for you to hear about it, and I can't wait for you to come up with some kind of crazy concept. Yeah, I mean, Michael does play in our Friday game as well, which is his birthday, so I'm sure there'll be many more celebrations there. And it's Friday the 13th and Collateral Damage. I can't believe that I'm going to be running 4 Saturday games after that evening. I can hardly wait. Thank you for listening to my babbling. If you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about here, the thing to do is come join our community. We're a friendly lot. I'm going to throw in the Discord thing again for you. Come, you can just chat, you can lurk, you can see the games that we've got on offer. You can just literally join in. See, Mr. Brooks there, Brooks 729 knows what. Oh, he's got it wrong. Ha 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 ha. But we've got an absolutely fantastic community, and obviously commands that Discord has quite possibly forgotten about. Yeah, it must be broken. You've broken it. So that's what we'll be doing Wednesday night. It seems that Michael and me have got a birthday date. I'm not sure whether that is what he envisaged as a birthday present or not, but I'll try and make it. I'll try and make it as good as possible for you. Okay. So a birthday, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you'll have to let me know when your birthday is, and yeah, maybe a solo game for you, Mr. Brooks. Um, I'm just looking at my September. Everybody, yeah, people, best people are born in September. I'm probably going to get really shouted at for saying that, but I mean, sometimes you can't hide the truth, can you? I'm looking at my notes. I'm looking at my notes, and I'm just seeing three letters: OGL, Open Game License. I I would like to point out before everybody starts coming on and wondering why Michael's got this special treatment. It's because his good lady wife has paid for it. But yeah, I am available to hire for one-on-one sessions. Who um, maybe I should start an OnlyFans as well. Uh, OGL, OGL, Open Game License. Open Game License. This was spoilt last week, and there's kind of nothing to say and everything to say about it, really. First and foremost, I am not an expert. I have not done huge amounts of research into this, so perhaps I shouldn't even be talking about it or comment on it. But I think it's necessary for our community, for me as a sounding board and everything else. But the Open Gaming License is in effect a license that Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro Wizards of the Coast had with Dungeons and Dragons, dating back, I think, to 3.5, and has wasn't really there for fourth, but it was reinstated for fifth, as far as I'm aware. And the license fundamentally is supposed to be that, an open gaming license, a license so that third party publishers, people that are not Wizards of the Coast, can come up with creative content and publish their work. As far as I'm aware, that is what it is. And one could argue that that license has been instrumental in the very much the growth of fifth edition. One could argue without the open game license, actual play shows like Critical Role perhaps would have carried on using Pathfinder. One could argue that D&D being at the forefront, and I don't mean necessarily the product that Wizards of the Coast are publishing, but third party are publishing sort of niche, um, pushing the boundaries for equality, um, sort of ensuring that gatekeeping is going on and being an all-encompassing community has come about through this third-party publishing. Um, some people might disagree with me, but I very much think it has played an incredibly important part in the growth of Dungeons and Dragons over the last number of years. And there's been a leak that they are changing this now. They're going to try and retcon it to so the change that they're doing will affect pre the new license coming out, and then for D&D 1 going forward there is this new supposedly open gaming license, but there doesn't seem to be anything particularly open about it. It has been spoilt, or rather leaked. It's not official. Wizards of the Coast haven't really commented on it, so it is pretty much speculation. But it seems to be incredibly harsh and clamped down in terms of insisting that any third-party publishers have to sign a license, a contract with Wizards of the Coast. They have to pay, in effect, royalties. If they want to sort of launch it through a fundraiser, that's okay, John. welcome. You can always catch up. We've just had quite a laugh, and I've just announced what the secret project was as well. Um, Sorry, third party publishing. It's important that I talk to you. It's just my old mind does not follow particular trains of thought very well. So yeah, the new license for D&D one, as they're calling it, although that might change to sixth edition. Um, it really clamps down on third-party publishers. Sorry, I was saying that, yeah, that if you use a sort of crowdfunding mechanic to launch your product as a third-party publisher, you have to do it via Kickstarter. Um, you can trawl the internet for people talking about it. There's been a huge backlash from the community in general, but it is just a leak. So until Wizards of the Coast actually make any true statements, we've got nothing to sort of base it on. But this leak very much looks official. Looks like it was going to be in place. Now, whether it's an earlier draft that they had or not, can't really say. But there's been someone from Kickstarter that has confirmed that they have been in talks with Wizards of the Coast, supposedly. And Wizards of the Coast haven't. There's quite a big kerfuffle going on across the internet, as happens with the internet. And Wizards of the Coast haven't really done anything at all to, um, you know, calm it down, dismiss all of these rumours, etc., etc. It could be very, very bad for some third-party publishers, um, both for their already published material and their material going on. Um, so that's what it is. Um, we don't know, but I'm worried. I have to say I'm concerned, because I think it's close to being true, and whether they redact it and bring something else, this doesn't mean that down the line they might not do something akin to this, um, or exactly the same, really. Now, I like to think things through. I'm a nightmare for overthinking. Um, and the big question is why? Why on earth would they try and do this if the community as a whole was instrumental in the growth of fifth ed? Why on earth do they want to stop that happening, especially with D&D one coming out? And the only real thing I can kind of really think of, they do want to monetize Dungeons and Dragons without a doubt. They have actually gone to press with they think it is underfunded, and they would like to fund it more. But I don't think that funding is looking to come from sort of royalties from third party publishers. I think what their end game, as it were, really is digital project product. If you look what they've done with Magic the Gathering and Magic the Gathering Arena, um, you know, they've digitalized their product. They are selling virtual booster packs. They are doing online tournaments, and it seems to be doing okay. The profit in it seems to be much better. Um, I've not looked at their bottom line, but it occurs to me that they have probably their end game here for D&D one at launch is to do something similar to they already have purchased D&D Beyond. There are talks about a virtual tabletop tied to D&D Beyond, um, and it strikes me that they kind of are looking to make D&D One to be D&D Beyond, and they want to drive GMs and players to using that virtual tabletop. Um, They have probably, with this license, done it incredibly heavy-handed, but they also want any kind of materially published there for them to have the, in effect, rights to, either through back routes rather than sort of being upfront about it. And I mean, you're all intelligent people. You all know how the internet works and how computer games works and stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to labour the point that at the moment players don't really purchase anything from Wizards of the Coast. They might purchase one or two sort of Xanathar's Guide type books, um, but on the whole, it's the GM. Round a gaming table, a GM buys the core rule books, and they can sort of share them. And if you've got 6 players, not necessarily all those players have got all the books. They share it, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is the way and the nature of the game. But I can very much see the CEOs in either Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro are going, well, wait there. We have this many players, but the large number of them, if you say that a table of 5 playing D&D, maybe only half of them purchase product, and then it's kind of shared amongst them. How can we get revenue from everybody around the table? And obviously with digital, not only is the option of purchasing individual parts of books and all of that kind of stuff, it's like, hey, downloadable content. Do you want some shiny dice? Do you want an avatar? How about your character on the virtual tabletop? You want that shiny suit of adamantine armor, as you get a skin for your character, etc., etc. Suddenly, players are purchasing these microtransactions, and obviously, the more people that are directed to the virtual tabletop, the more sales they'll make. And in no way am I saying this is a bad thing. We all like shiny things. We all, a dollar here, a dollar there. It is nothing to make your character that you spend a lot of time looking at looking super cool. I suppose the issue that I have is if they are doing this, and if the open gaming license has been changed to try and push people to that, it's hurting a lot of people that have put a lot of work and creativity in creating product to cause that to happen. And whilst from a business point of view, I can see why they've done it. I'm not comfortable with it. Um, and I don't mean for me. I think people are going to literally lose their incomes, have to have a lot of stress and pressure, kind of rejigging how they pay their bills, especially in economic global climate. So my heart really goes out to these people at the moment that are incredibly stressed and worried that their livelihoods are going to be substantially damaged. Now you might say, well, Andy, well, whoa. These people that are making money off the back of Wizards of the Coast, is that truly fair? Surely Wizards of the Coast, surely that they're using their products. I mean, it's not quite my thought process. And bear with me a moment as I kind of talk you through how my mind has kind of sort of see it. To my mind, Dungeons and Dragons is a rule set. It's the building blocks to run a game. It's the building blocks to and the tools to create, which is fine. And I'm completely against piracy. Absolutely. I used to run a retail store. I wanted people to buy the books. People should buy the rule sets, whether it's off D&D Beyond or as a physical book, or as I do in 3 different formats. Um, but once you've brought those building blocks and you go away and start designing your own thing, surely that own thing shouldn't belong to Wizards of the Coast. It's like if you go to a builder's merchants because you're building a house, and you're not following the same schematics of the house that the building merchant has got. And you kind of go, look, I need a load of bricks, I need tools for this, I need some heavy machinery to do. Here you go, here you go. Here's the money for it. Thank you very much. And you take all those away and you build your house. To have that builder's merchant come across to you and go, well, we actually own your house. I mean, I know that you purchased all the stuff to build it, but I mean, there still are there are bricks, and used our tools. It's our house, and that's trying to put it into a perspective that there's a rule set. That's one thing, and then there's what you do with that rule set. And I know personally, I can spend 8 hours a day creating content for our community um, to play with. And if I was doing a scenario based off Drizzt or in the Forgotten Realms, heavily tying it to the lore, which I sometimes do, I wouldn't have too much issue with Wizards of the Coast saying, well, we own all of that lore, that is right. But for them to come and say, well, we want claims on the smoke, um, it feels wrong to me. And that's kind of what the changes are intimating at the moment, is that whilst you as a creator technically own them, anything created with the rule sets can be used by Wizards of the Coast without permission at any time they want. So it's troubling. It's speculation. It's a leak. Whether it was originally true and they're going to redact it, whether it's not true at all, it's concerning for the future. Um, uh, Indeed, Dr. Jocelyn, I'm not quite sure. I think if there is anything to go by, the reason why it's done now is because D&D 1 is a year or so away, and by leaking it now and making the announcement now, the dust, it will eventually settle by the time D&D 1 comes out. If they did it kind of just before launch, I mean, I could see that would be very devastating to the launch of D&D 1. Anyway, I'm not here to preach to you. I'm not here to say this is right, or well, I am here to say this is right or wrong, but that's my opinion. I respect your opinions on it. That might be seen as a little bit sort of sitting on fence. No, I mean, I've had huge amounts of pleasure through Dungeons and Dragons, for using the rule set to create things that has allowed me to run games for all of you. And in many ways, long may it continue. But I do need to protect myself as well. So kind of moving forward, nothing's going to change. At the start of this this stream, I said, these are all this week's games. Many of them are Dungeons and Dragons still, and we're gonna poddle on until something changes. I did, before all of this happened, decide upon trying to test out a few other systems anyway. So you'll see some of those come up, but don't let those stress you out. They are they are there for you to test out. And I would say for you to sort of ponder on this. This is kind of the last thing I'm going to say about the open gaming license for now, anyway, until we have more. But what makes a game for you? Is it that rule set, or is it the style of play with your friends and with the GM. Um, if you was using something different, playing the same character, I mean, there are rules out there if you want to play, a wizard or a warlock or a fighter. So many different rules out there for all sorts of things. But is the thing that really makes it fun for you rolling a d20 and adding it to another number to see whether you've hit the target? Um, or is it the results of that that are described to you? Um, there are thousands of other options, and I would argue, and this isn't this is both the strength and the weakness of Dungeons and Dragons, is that Dungeons and Dragons is um, it, 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 it it's very good at representing combat, but tactical combat rather than cinematic combat. Uh, One of the big things for D&D, but there are other systems out there, is the leveling system as well. But beyond that, it's quite bland. Um, it does everything kind of okay. Um, this could be seen as a criticism, but it can also be seen as a strength because a GM can take that. I don't know, like just porridge, for instance. I don't know. I'm thinking of something that's fairly bland, and we can take that, and everybody kind of likes porridge, but what you really want is maybe a little bit of salt in your porridge, or maybe some sugar. How about some fruit syrup? Let's make it spicy, and you take that base, and the GM with his creativity, along with the players if it's cooperative, makes it work. Um, and it's not D&D allows you to do that because it doesn't do it itself. Um, Whereas many other systems do it. Um, um, because what they do, that they're substantially more specific, and you couldn't use it in any other way. So for instance, Call of Cthulhu, great system, love it as much as I love D&D. And don't get me wrong, I love my D&D, but Call of Cthulhu is designed for a very specific type of game. Yes, it can be argued there's a Call of Cthulhu pulp system as well, but that's a different. They've taken the Call of Cthulhu rules and changed it deliberately to make that. Call of Cthulhu, you are normal people, you are up against cosmic horrors, you will go insane and you will die. And that is the design of the game, and it specifically does that, and it does it incredibly well. Um, and there are many other games out there that do things very good. Yeah, digital. You've asked a very interesting question. The answer is maybe. Um, the thing with Paizo is it's a big company. It has lawyers, and I think what they're trying to do, if the open game license that they're trying to change is true, they're not able to do it. But it's going to take someone with some money and time to kind of legally stand against it, if you see what I mean. And obviously, Pathfinder Paizo will probably stand up and attempt to say you can't do this. But there's two things. There's the changing of the old open game license, which will affect Pathfinder, and there's the installation of the new one. And the installation of the new one can be installed with Open D&D. No, it's not Open D&D. It's One D&D. Um, and then that makes creating content for one D&D problematic. Um, we live in interesting times. I would very much suggest that you all play the games that you get the most fun out of. I'm not in any way suggesting that if you're comfortable with D&D, if you enjoy D&D, if it's not causing you to spend more money that you don't want to spend or can't spend, etc., etc., then you stay with it. It's your choice, it's your money, it's your life, it's your enjoyment. Go for it. And um, I will continue to support your choices. That is my job. My job isn't to tell you I love playing this particular game. We're going to play this. My job is to listen to the community, and when people come together and say, oh, we really, really want to play this, it's for me to run it for you. That is why I get paid. But I am uncomfortable if the open game license is going in this direction, being forced to run it on D&D Beyond, where everything is tracked. And if I publish stuff on D&D Beyond, if I run my campaign like Tales from the Smoke on it, they suddenly have a claim to all of that content. So it's going to be very interesting in exactly what we do. I have no idea whether they're going to put royalties on things like Fantasy Grounds, for instance, for running D&D, or anything else. We just don't know at the moment, and I'm not trying to scaremonger at all. We might find that the new D&D Beyond and One D&D and the sort of microtransactions are absolutely beautiful and fantastic, and we love them. But I suppose the question is, we love them at what cost to these other poor sort of publishers that have struggled. And don't get me wrong, they'll survive. There is a ton of other games, hundreds upon hundreds of out there, from very light indie rules to things that we've spoken about: Call of Cthulhu, Pathfinder, Vampire the Masquerade, and many, many, many more. And apologies to anybody that is watching that publishes them. Jump on our Discord. I'll do it again if you are, and promote your games. This is what we're all about. This is what our community is about. So long term, I'm not quite sure what is going to happen. Are they going to try and claim that professional GMs? I hate that term. I don't consider myself a professional GM. I consider running games as a job, and I act in a professional way. But it kind of makes me it makes me sound as if I'm saying that I'm better than someone who doesn't get paid to do GMing, and that is not right at all. There's some absolutely fantastic and creative individuals out there that run games for their friends that, you know, I'm going to say better than me, maybe. Um, but, are they going to try and sort of monetize people that run D&D and charge ticket prices for it? I don't know, and I suppose the answer is there, as if they do, and you are super keen to do D&D, then I would have to pass that charge on, which kind of is a whole sort of different kettle of fish. How much are you prepared to pay for your D&D? And would you want to pay for your D&D when you can get the same experience having a different rule set, but literally the same campaign and the same experience and the same enjoyment with your friends around the table? There's all of these hundreds upon hundreds of questions that are going through my head. The one thing that I do know is Hasbro is a corporation. It is run by people that look at the bottom line of the business, and they don't necessarily actually understand the nuances of nerd culture. I mean, the beautiful guys at Critical Role understand that. When they kickstarted or crowdfunded their cartoon, I mean, they just raised. I mean, it was millions, wasn't it? It was just brilliant, and they tapped into the zeitgeist. They had run all of these sessions consistently, week in, week out, 3 to 4 hour games. They were entertaining, and you know, they they deserve that financial recognition. Um, I mean, we've seen it before. We've got a company very close to us that is a fantastic games company. Games Workshop is what I'm talking about. I'm sure many of you in our community play their games and go down to Warhammer World. We've got a lot of people that are not based here. Um, but they've had their issues too. They went through a period where their shares were plummeting because they they lost sight of their actual audience. Um, and it's going to be very, very interesting, as I say. Um, I love D&D, I do, and it's kind of heartbreaking to see these other creators kind of stressing at the moment and worrying about what they're going to do, what they're going to do with the things that they've already written, what they're going to do with things that have been written, but they're just about to publish. What are they going to do in the future? Um, so I wish them all well, and I hope for them that things don't change and they can carry on doing that and they never change. But it's left a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth as well, um, that is warning me that if you drink from uh, the well of Hasbro, um, it could well be tainted sometime down the line, I guess. And I'm not speaking as someone that runs games. I'm speaking as someone that this year was hoping to publish a ton of games, and literally me and Matt, some of you have met, he jumped into one of our play tests. Um, we're in the process of launching this thing at the moment. Oh, you need to trust every cat. Well, until it's the one that is actually the druid or the familiar. That was a beautiful encounter, Jocelyn. I'm just going to put this into here. This is the Kickstarter that hopefully was still launching in February, because I might as well advertise everything whilst I'm here. If you hadn't had a look yet, you can click on that link. It'll take you through. It's just a holding page. We've teamed up with Dragon's Forge, um, who are doing some incredibly great miniatures for it. But it's their project. They've, in effect, teamed up with us to write a sort of small adventure and a little bit of a setting, um, that they can use the miniatures within. And we were looking at doing quite a few more of these and some of our own things as well. Um, and I think we're still going to do them, but with all of this kicking off, I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do at the moment. Um, um, well, yeah, Jocelyn, it's it's interesting. I'm really not worried about me and us at the moment. We're right at the beginning of our publishing career. It's the people that have been publishing for a while now, and people are not making the money that Wizards make, or Pazio or Kobold Press or Critical Role. They are literally publishing it, making a little bit of money, using it to pay the bills, and trying to publish another thing. And they're coming up with some incredibly creative stuff, and it's them that I feel sorry for. Um, but I suppose the question is are we going to publish new sort of rules neutral product, so a lot of really cool plot hooks and ideas for an adventure that a GM can go, it's really easy to drop in D&D rules in here if I want to run it, or Pathfinder rules, or Morkborg rules, or um, Dragonbane rules, or whatever rules that you wanted to use, or whether we're going to choose a different rule set that does have an open game license that isn't going to be changed. So I'm very much going through all of this at the moment, trying to work out what is the best thing for us to do. We're looking to try and get one of our little adventures published by the end of the month. Um, for those of you that pay, I'm not sure whether anybody in chat has at the moment, but some of you might have done the Kobold adventure that we ran recently as a mythical. We're looking to expand that and do that, and that was a very fun little game. But we're looking at maybe trying to do one a month. That was the plan until all of this has dropped on us. So the verdict's out at the moment. Does anybody have any sort of questions or anything else? I think we've been going for an hour now, which is about right, and I don't really want to leave the stream on a negative sounding note. The future is good. The future is bright. There's thousands of cool games out there. Hopefully, Wizards of the Coast will change their mind. Um, you know, I'm certainly not going to stop running stuff at the moment until it starts directly um, doing it. I mean, I might well do some Elden Ring streams, probably daytime, but I'm also very, very busy now with writing all of these mythicals. Michael's solo game on Wednesday. I don't know whether you've jumped into chat yet, Michael, or whether you're going to watch it on catch up. But happy birthday! And also this publishing stuff. I mean, I sent you the screenshot of how many hours I did with Elden Ring previously. Um, um, yeah, it's very cool, Brooks. But I mean, yeah, I might do it daytime. Obviously, I can't do it round about these kind of times because if I mean, this is date night for me. This is this is the night that me and my good lady wife are supposedly spending an evening together. Because if you listen to the start of the stream, all of my other evenings are spent with you lot. Um, so I could well be in a little bit of trouble, but she understands the importance of doing this stream now rather than daytime because I did want to have a few of you in chat to help me think it through, as it were. Really, I hope you found what I've said informative as much as it can be over a leak, and the fact that I'm not particularly um, I don't know all the ins and outs of it. You know, to be honest, only what I've read. I didn't want it to be, conspiracy, and I didn't want it to be bashing Dungeons and Dragons or Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro. Business is business at the end of the day. But you can do business, but you can also have empathy and sympathy for the people that are suffering from the fallout for all of this as well. Um, so yeah, I'm going to raise my beer to you, say cheers, say thank you very much for supporting me last week in our games and supporting me hopefully this week if I haven't made you all very, very sad. I'm just going to put some quick socials up here. I think you've basically got most of these anyway, so let us do that. You know the Discord one, it has been flashing up and down all of the time. Let me just put this one here. This is my, you can buy me a beer or a coffee one. Um, very much appreciate. There's a few people that occasionally sort of say, thank you very much. Here you go. Have a drink on me. If you think I deserve it, if a session's gone particularly well, or whether you want to buy me a drink so that you can say, oh yeah, that magic item that I really wanted. I don't suppose you could, you know, get me a little bit tipsy, and who knows what could happen. Um, the other things, the other ways of reaching me, that sounded very much like bribery, which I suppose is exactly what I was reaching for. um, I was going to do a little bit of politics then, but um, I probably best not. Um, and then other ways of getting in touch with me are here as well. I will be putting this video up on YouTube tomorrow. If you're watching it here, feel free to watch it again on YouTube. Some people prefer YouTube to here. If you're watching tomorrow on YouTube or in the future on YouTube, I hope it has made sense to you. Hope you understand. Put some comments on. Join us on Discord. You can see me on Twitter and Facebook if you want. I tend to friend everybody, which is probably a wrong approach, but hey, I'd rather have friends than enemies. And yeah, so I suppose all there is really left to say is big happy birthday to Michael again. Um, I'll be in touch, or you can be in touch with me about Wednesday night. Very much looking forward to it. Looking forward to Friday as well. Thank you very much, everybody, for hanging out, lurking, getting involved with all of this. Really, really appreciate it. I hope you find it useful. Hope you find it helpful. And till next time, when we either meet in a game on Discord or here on Twitch, stay safe, look after yourselves, and take care. Ta-ta for now.